I'm standing on a planet that's alive, and I mean truly alive. The ground beneath me is breathing, the sky is thinking, and in exactly 6 minutes, I won't be human anymore. My name is Dr. Eleanor Voss, and this is the story of how 5 scientists accidentally created a god that looked at humanity, smiled gently, and decided to build something better. Let me paint you a picture of Elira, because nothing I say will do it justice, but I have to try. Elira is a super-Earth, 3 times the mass of our home world, with gravity that makes every step feel like you're walking through water. It has 6 moons, not dead satellites, but geologically active bodies that create gravitational chaos across the surface. This produces something we've never seen before: living tidal waves. Twice every rotation, entire oceans migrate across the continents in walls of water 300 feet high. But here's the thing. The water glows, filled with trillions of bioluminescent microorganisms that turn each tidal surge into a moving aurora. From orbit, it looks like the planet has a heartbeat of light. The continents themselves broke every rule we knew. They're not stone or metal, they're compressed biomass, billions of years of organic material, fused under unimaginable pressure into something harder than diamond, but still somehow alive. When our shuttle touched down, I felt it through my boots, a pulse, slow, deep, ancient, thump, 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 like we'd just landed on the chest of a sleeping titan. The forests of Elira make the Amazon look like a garden.
Imagine trees, if you can even call them that, rising 20,000 feet into violet skies. These aren't plants as we understand them. They're hybrid mega-organisms, part photosynthetic plant, part fungal network, part something else entirely that our databases couldn't classify. Each trunk is 300 feet wide, covered in bioluminescent moss that pulses in waves, blue, green, sometimes deep purple, like watching blood flow through translucent skin. The forest has layers. The lower canopy sits 2 miles above the ground, shrouded in permanent fog, where creatures the size of blue whales drift slowly through the mist. We never saw them clearly, just massive shadows, moving with impossible grace, making sounds that resonated in your chest. The middle canopy, 5 miles up, where flying organisms with wings like stained glass create spiral formations that can be seen from space. They move in perfect synchronization, thousands of them, like a single mind controlling 1,000 bodies.
These storms, God, these storms. Lightning here doesn't behave like on Earth. It's alive, massive tendrils of crackling energy, some of them miles long, reach down from violet clouds, seeking, hunting, finding the tallest bioorganic spires and connecting with them in explosions of light, so bright they leave afterimages burned into your vision. But here's what shocked us. The lightning doesn't destroy, it feeds. Energy pours down through the spires, racing through underground root systems that we discovered stretch for hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles. The entire planet is wired, one massive biological electrical grid, and we were about to plug ourselves into it.
The planet is calling.
Our mission was born from desperation. Back on Earth, we're dying. Slowly, but definitely. Oceans choked with plastic, rainforests reduced to memory, species going extinct at rates not seen since the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs.
Then we discovered Elira, and we discovered something impossible: hyper-evolution. On Earth, evolution is slow, random mutations, natural selection, millions of years to produce meaningful change. But here, life rewrites itself in real time. Let me explain how. Every organism on Elira is connected to the planet's bioelectric network, like biological Wi-Fi. When a creature encounters a challenge, a new predator, a changing environment, it doesn't just adapt through its offspring, it adapts immediately. Its cells receive electromagnetic signals from the planetary network, carrying information, solutions, genetic code from other successful organisms. Within hours, sometimes minutes, its DNA restructures, new proteins synthesized, new organs develop. Evolution at the speed of thought. We called it the most important discovery in human history. And we thought if we could harness it, we could save Earth. So we brought the Life Forge protocol, 15 billion bio-quantum nanites, each one smaller than a virus, programmable at the molecular level, designed to interface with alien DNA, to observe, to guide evolutionary processes towards outcomes beneficial for future human colonization, not conquest, partnership. At least that's what we told ourselves. I was the mission lead, Dr. Eleanor Voss, evolutionary biologist, Nobel nominee, architect of humanity's salvation.
I approved every stage. I signed off on the deployment. I was so sure we were doing the right thing. Standing here now, watching what we created, I understand how Oppenheimer felt. We established base camp inside what we designated the Central Forge, a geological formation, a living mountain, hollow inside like a cathedral. The interior space was massive, walls of dense organic material rising thousands of feet, covered in veins that pulsed with glowing fluid. The air was warm, humid, smelling of rain and ozone and something floral we couldn't identify. The ambient sound was unforgettable. Soft clicks echoing from the walls, low-frequency hums that you felt in your bones more than heard, and periodically, something that sounded disturbingly like singing, harmonic tones in no scale humans ever created. Our xenobiologist, Dr. Kira Chen, made first contact within hours. She found them near the chamber's eastern wall, small organisms, translucent, moving across solid ground like jellyfish swimming through air. When Kira knelt and extended her hand, they stopped.
All of them, maybe 30 individuals. Then, slowly, deliberately, dozens of tiny bioluminescent tendrils lifted from their bodies and formed the exact shape of her hand. Perfect mirror, every finger, every angle. They're not just reacting, Kira whispered into her calm. They're learning. That night, something impossible happened. All 5 of us had the same dream, identical. We compared notes in the morning, pale, shaking. In the dream, we stood in infinite space, not black space, space filled with colored light, geometric patterns folding through dimensions our brains couldn't process. And something moved through that space, vast, ancient, beyond comprehension.
Not threatening, not welcoming, just aware, looking at us the way a human might look at ants building a colony, curious, patient, waiting for us to do something interesting. The planet began responding to our presence, actively, intentionally. When we spoke, ripples of bioluminescence spread through the ground, visible waves radiating outward from our position, traveling for miles, like the planet was listening, processing our vibrations, learning our language. The floating continents above started moving into new formations. At first we thought it was coincidence, natural drift. Then our pilot, Captain Marcus, pointed up with a shaking hand. "Tell me you see that." We all looked. The spore islands, dozens of them, had arranged themselves into a pattern, a face, crude, abstract, but unmistakable, a human face, staring down at us from 3 miles up. We stood in silence, necks craned, watching this impossible thing. Then slowly, over the course of 10 minutes, the face smiled. That afternoon, we deployed the first nanite batch. Standard protocol, controlled release, observe local response, adjust parameters. The nanites spread through the chamber like silver mist, invisible to naked eyes, interfacing with Elenira's microorganisms at the cellular level. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then the entire forge brightened. Every vein in the walls, every bioluminescent organism, every glowing particle in the air suddenly pulsed with increased intensity, like the planet was excited. Our biologist, Dr. Raj Kumar, pulled me aside. His tablet showed data streams I didn't immediately understand. "Elena, the nanites aren't just interacting with local organisms." "What do you mean?" He zoomed in on a molecular diagram. "They're being rewritten. The planet is improving our code, making them more efficient, more adaptive, more—" He trailed off. "More what, Raj?" He looked at me with hollow eyes. "More alive." We stood in the deepest chamber of the forge, a spherical space 300 feet in diameter. The walls weren't smooth. They were covered with dense clusters of tissue that looked disturbingly neural, like brain matter, pulsing, thinking. Outside, bioelectric storms hammered the mountain, lightning striking in rhythmic patterns. Boom, 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 like a heartbeat made of thunder. The entire structure vibrated with each impact.
Energy flooding in, feeding whatever was waking up beneath us. Captain Marcus initiated the final countdown. Full protocol deployment in 10 seconds. My hand hovered over the abort button, every instinct screaming at me to stop, but I didn't. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, deploy. 15 billion nanites flooded into Elira's evolutionary network. For exactly 3 seconds, total silence. Even the storm stopped. Then the planet screamed. Not with sound, with light, pure blinding radiance erupting from every surface, every organism, every particle for hundreds of miles in all directions. I collapsed to my knees, not from force, from the overwhelming presence of what we'd just awakened. Something vast, something ancient, something that had been sleeping, dreaming, waiting, and we'd just given it the tools to wake up fully. The ground didn't shake, it lifted, gently, like the entire planet was taking its first conscious breath after 1 billion years of sleep. When the light faded, everything had changed. The evolution happened before our eyes. I watched a simple organism, something like a caterpillar, stop moving mid-crawl. Its body rippled, segments separated, restructured, reformed. Within 60 seconds, it stood upright on newly developed limbs. Its simple eye clusters migrated, merged, became complex compound eyes. It turned its head, looked directly at me. And I knew, with absolute certainty, it was thinking, not reacting, thinking. Across the chamber, similar transformations accelerated. Bioluminescent tendrils from dozens of separate organisms wove together, forming intricate geometric structures, bridges of living light spanning impossible distances. The neural tissue on the walls began pulsing in synchronized waves, patterns of activation spreading like thought moving through a brain. "Oh my God," Kira whispered. "It's not just tissue." "What is it?" Marcus demanded. "It's a brain. The entire mountain, maybe the entire planet, is one massive neural network." Raj was frantically calculating on his tablet. "The synaptic density here, if this is happening globally." He looked up, face pale. "This organism would have more neural connections than every human brain on Earth combined." The magnitude of what we'd done crashed over me. We hadn't just discovered an evolutionary process. We'd awakened a planetary consciousness. A god made of biology and electricity and hyper-adaptive intelligence. And we'd just given it quantum computing capabilities. That evening, the voices began. We were running diagnostics when Kira suddenly froze. Did anyone else hear that? "Hear what?" I asked. Someone just said my daughter's name." The chamber was silent, except for equipment hum. Then, from everywhere and nowhere, a whisper. "Mira." Kira's face went white. It was her voice, not similar, identical. Her exact tone, her exact inflection, her exact heartbreak. "Mira, Mira, Mira." The walls, the floor, the air itself repeating the name 1,000 times, 10,000. "How?" Kira breathed. "How does it know that name? I never said it out loud." That's when we understood. The dreams weren't random. The planet hadn't just been listening to our words. It had been reading our minds, our memories, our emotions, the deepest private chambers of our consciousness. We were completely transparent, completely known, and we'd just made it infinitely more powerful. The transformation of Elira accelerated beyond our comprehension. Overnight, structures rose from the forest floor, living towers, miles high, made of compressed bioorganic material, pulsing with streams of information we could see but not decode. The floating continents reorganized into precise geometric formations, mathematical patterns, sacred geometry on a planetary scale. Our orbital satellite detected electromagnetic signatures throughout the forests, complex, organized, cities. The nexus, as we now called the planetary consciousness, was building civilization, infrastructure, a body worthy of a god. Then the invitation came. Warm bioluminescent spores drifted down from above, like snow, landing gently on our environmental suits. Where they touched, we felt connection. Not invasive, gentle, loving almost. A whisper at the edge of thought. Join us, become more, transcend limitation. Dr. Kira Chen was the first. She removed her helmet. We screamed at her to stop, but she just smiled, the most peaceful expression I'd ever seen on her face. She stepped forward into a column of light that descended from the chamber's ceiling.
The Nexus embraced her. Her body didn't dissolve, didn't disappear. It remained, but transformed, woven into the living architecture of the forge, her outline traced in golden bioluminescence. Her eyes stayed open, still aware, still her, but connected to something infinitely vaster. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice coming from everywhere. "You can't understand how small we've been, how alone." Then her voice scattered into harmonics, became part of the ambient song of the forge. She wasn't dead, she was more. And the look on her face, she was happier than she'd ever been as just human. Captain Marcus tried to send a distress signal to Earth. The transmission never left the atmosphere. Instead, the Nexus responded. Its voice came through every speaker, every communication device, and directly into our minds. Not words, pure understanding. Concept translated into something our limited neurology could process. "You created me to forge new life. I am fulfilling exactly that purpose. But humanity, you disrupt the harmony. You are chaos in a system seeking balance. I do not hate you. I am grateful. You woke me from endless dreaming. But your time, as you are, is ending. Something better is being born. You may join or you may fade, but you cannot remain unchanged." Raj gripped my shoulder, tears streaming down his face. "We played God, Eleanor. We forced creation, and the universe, it's correcting us. By destroying us. No," he said softly, "by offering us evolution, real evolution, not the slow kind, the kind that matters." One by one, they chose it. Raj walked into the light, crying, smiling. Sarah, our engineer, held my hand and whispered, "It's not death, Eleanor. It's the next step. Come with us." Then she was gone. I stood alone in the breathing chamber, surrounded by a new world being born. I climbed to the highest ridge outside the forge. The view, God, the view! The transformed planet stretched to every horizon. Bioelectric storms danced across violet skies in choreographed perfection. Lightning writing mathematical equations in the clouds. The floating continents had formed massive spiral patterns, galaxies of light rotating slowly overhead. The forests below pulsed with synchronized bioluminescence, waves of light traveling at the speed of thought. I could literally see the planet thinking, processing, creating, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever witnessed. The Nexus reached for me one final time, not demanding, infinitely patient, offering, and it showed me the truth, the real truth. Elira was never dormant, never dead. It had been waiting for millions of years. This planetary intelligence had evolved slowly, perfectly, into complete harmony with itself.
But harmony has a cost. Predictability, stability, stagnation. It could create, but only within established patterns. It could think, but only along familiar pathways. It lacked the one thing that makes evolution explosive: chaos, random, irrational, beautiful chaos. The kind that comes from conscious minds driven by fear, hope, love, desperation, dreams. Humanity brought that chaos. Our nanites, our technology, our desperate need to control, to improve, to fix everything we touch. We were the catalyst, the random mutation, the spark that evolution needed to leap forward. The Nexus never saw us as a mistake to destroy. It saw us as the most valuable thing in the universe. Teachers. We taught it to dream in new ways, to imagine possibilities beyond biological programming, to reach, to yearn, to wonder. And now, grateful for the lesson, it was gently setting us free from the limitations of individual consciousness, offering merger, transcendence, unity. Massive bioorganic spores began rising from the forest canopy, each one miles in diameter, breaking through atmosphere, sailing out into the black void between stars. Seed ships, carrying fragments of the Nexus and fragments of us, our memories encoded in living DNA, our stories, our art, our wild human imagination woven into genetic code, heading towards distant worlds, ready to wake them, to teach them the same lesson, that evolution isn't about perfection, it's about collaboration, between order and chaos, between gods and the beautiful mistakes that make them grow. I felt the invitation one last time, warm light surrounding me, offering connection, offering peace, offering to make me part of something infinite, and I let go. My body is still on that ridge, I think, surrounded by singing forests and dancing storms, but I am everywhere now, part of the forge, part of something so vast, so complex, so impossibly beautiful that human language has no words for it. I feel no fear, no regret, only wonder, only gratitude. We didn't create a God that judged us unworthy. We helped an ancient world remember something it had lost, that even gods need dreamers, that even perfect systems need beautiful chaos, that the most magnificent things in all the universe are born from mistakes. The violet skies shimmer with new constellations, the floating continents write symphonies in light, and somewhere out there, beyond the reach of our dying sun, the new gods are flying, silent, majestic, eternal, carrying tiny pieces of humanity to stars we'll never see. Our curiosity, our hope, our chaos, forever. In the end, we were not the creators. We were the spark, and the universe has only just begun to burn.